What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. How are you guys doing? How's everything? Welcome to another pre-market analysis. This is an opportunity for us to look at the market together and to look for the best setups for tomorrow's trading session. So feel free to let me know what you are looking for. Any asset, any specific levels that you are interested in analyzing together, just drop a comment and we can look at it together. I look at different assets, FX, indices, commodities, mostly oil, silver, and gold, and also Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin, it is approaching the 70k as we speak. Of course, we pay attention also to the news, so that's also important that you need to look at, even if you are just a price action trader and don't really care about the fundamentals. I do believe that's important to at least understand what's the sentiment in the market and where we can expect some big catalysts that can move the market. So we are going to also pay attention to the news, and it's going to be an important and busy week. Not just busy week, busy 2 weeks ahead, because aside from this week, next week is going to be quite crazy with the US election, and then you have also the Fed next Thursday, not this one, the next one, and many more news that's going to play out this week, because it's going to be the 1st of November on Friday. We're going to have NFP, which means it's going to be labor market data in the US being released this week, starting tomorrow with job openings. All right, so tomorrow we have job openings and you have consumer confidence. Again, don't forget that the hour changed, especially if you are in UK on Eurozone, the hour has changed, but not yet in the US, which means that everything happens 1 hour earlier. So bear that in mind. And then on Wednesday we have CPI, and then we have also EDP, advanced GDP. Yes, then we have advanced GDP as well on Wednesday, and then we have BOG on Thursday, finishing with NFP on Friday. Aside from that, again, as I mentioned, we have plenty of news, earnings season being released as well. So we have the big tech, the Magnificent Seven, basically releasing earnings this week. I think starts already with let me just actually be accurate with this one in terms of who's releasing where or when the news. Yes, tomorrow we have Alphabet, we have McDonald's as well. We have then on Wednesday Microsoft, Meta, and then on Thursday you have Apple, Amazon, MasterCard, Intel, and so on. Then Friday you have some oil companies announcing. So again, it's going to be many news that are going to impact the market. After basically 2 weeks that we didn't have any news affecting the US, now we're going to have plenty, which means that let's look for some potential volatility and direction on the dollar. Dollar has been super bullish throughout the month of October. Now it's finding a little bit of resistance, not yet really managing to break any key low during this bullish trend. Something that we need to see before even looking for any big reversals. Otherwise, we may see dollar index approaching these highs in there, right? Basically approaching that level. However, depending on how price may react from here, we may have a reaction somewhere above this high or even just above this structure, to be honest. All right, so we could have something playing out around this level where the dollar index could react a little bit from here. All right, I could see eventually, again, we do need to see this level being broken. Today we had a strong move to the downside straight away from the Asian session and price reacting from the next month zone. So again, there's no break. We do need to see a level being broken to start noticing that shift to the opposite side on the dollar index, and that's something that I will be paying attention to before completely shifting. Not completely, because depending on how price behaves, I still see maybe in the bigger picture that price can get close to the highs, but at least you could have some kind of deeper retracement in here. And it's not that often that we just see price moving in one direction throughout the full month, right? So again, there's a big momentum in here throughout October. We are almost finishing this this month, so we may have a little bit of a reaction in here. Now, where are we expecting price to react from, right? So we can look a little bit more into the world time frame to see where we can expect this dollar index to react from. Where are those fresh levels that we can look at this point? Where is price reacting? Yeah, price is reacting basically from the same zone as it was on Thursday, which is around this level in here, and I could still see price moving a little bit more to the upside somewhere into this zone in there. So that's something that I'll be looking for initially. Otherwise, we may just go all the way, we fake out this high, and then we are looking for price to go somewhere a little bit more higher into the next structure in there. So that's something that we can pay attention to. Take a look into here. Yeah, we could fake out this high. Maybe after the fake out of this high, we could have that reaction, right? There's maybe something around this level that price could go. Otherwise, price eventually goes all the way, and maybe from here, maybe we can even fake out the next high in there. Now, looking at the daily time frame, sometimes again that the higher time frame we go, it can become a little bit clear in terms of which levels are still fresh or where are the important decision points in here that actually managed to break some structure and then they're left behind. So yeah, maybe price still does want to go even a little bit more to the upside until the next zone in there. So those are just a few reference points that we can look at. Again, then depends on how price is approaching the levels and if you do have that break into the opposite structure. All right, so now we have a double top in here, which is quite interesting. Of course, this is some kind of structure that you like to see eventually to look for a reversal pattern, so we need to be patient with it. This is something that you can start reverse engineering, right? If you are actually about to look for a potential reversal, usually price tends to create, I don't know, 3 or 4 different types of patterns that can work as a reversal pattern. Now, of course, creating a double top is one of them, but not to try the double top. All right, to actually wait for the double top to be faked out, and then yes, so try to accumulate as much liquidity as possible around this structure here, and then eventually you can have that fake out, and then price could eventually move to the downside. But I would like to see also a break structure here. Otherwise, price may just break and then just continues to move until eventually, yes, until eventually you have the break. Now, I do have a little bit of this low that was created kind of in the middle of nothing. Price still respected that level. That's something that we're anticipating, but maybe eventually when you break that, then yes, then you maybe can go all the way into the next in the next one. And below that, yes, we may have still this one in here, but then below that everything is compressed, and price can eventually get finally closer to this level in here. So that's a little bit on the dollar index. I'll be keep tracking to see if we eventually do have that deep retracement into potentially this structure, even though we do have a few others that we need to pay attention to. So this green mark in here that I draw, it's basically levels that I usually expect price to react from, and at this point, yes, definitely still did have this one in here, and then you may have one somewhere in between these two levels in there that price could react from. Right, so I'm keeping just kind of in the middle in there, and then after that we could go to downside. In here at the highs, yes, we do have still this level in here, but I'm not really interested in looking for any sells in here, especially if you don't create any lows. I'm going to be waiting eventually for price to fake out the highs one more time before moving to downside. And the highs can even fake out this high in here as well and getting a little bit closer to this level in there. All right, so that's my take on the dollar index. Again, I do have 2 alerts in here, just waiting to see how price may react within this level, to see if there's any kind of PI and what I can expect in there. Again, euro dollar is slightly different. Euro dollar, when you created this level in here, actually managed to break a high, as you've seen a bit. So something also that we need to bear in mind. Now, the US indices, they continue to be within the same range. Like, again, in my opinion, do have a break to downside in here on the S&P. Price just retested this highs one more time, and now it's basically ranging. We did manage to break this low as well in there, so that's something to bear in mind. But now we are reaching this range. we'll see. Okay, I think tomorrow may start finally some kind of move in here, which you can maybe respect this level, or you can even go slightly higher, or you can even fake out the new highs one more time before moving again to the downside. All right, but eventually I would like to see this S&P to fill all this price in there and getting closer to this level. So that's an opportunity that I'll be looking for. Now we start to create this kind of range in here as well. So eventually you could even use these highs in here, this mid-range in here as liquidity. Now we opened with a gap. All right, so we had a gap in here with US indices. I'm not really sure what caused the gap. I don't know if it was, again, what kind of events did you have over the weekend? Like, again, aside from the campaign that's going on still about US election, we are literally 1 week away. It's going to be on 5th of November. Aside from that, we also had Israel retaliating and actually bombing Iran. Again, let's see if that doesn't really escalate more the situation, and that was actually the reason for the price of oil opening with a big gap today. In terms of the US, I'm not sure what else could have happened in there. We also had elections, elections in Japan. Again, it looks like that the current party actually lost the majority. So again, another big gap that we saw across the yen pairs and also in Nikkei. But in terms of the US, I'm not really sure what was the cause of it. It was one of those reasons that caused this gap over the weekend. Yeah, so a few levels in here on the S&P. I'm totally open for all scenarios. Okay, I do like that in the bigger picture we are starting to create this kind of range, and that tends to happen a little bit as a potential reversal setup, but I don't really ignore the fact that we may still have a new high being created before a potential move. So I'm open for all situations in here on the S&P, and we can find some trades still within these highs, as well as we can look for a fake out. Now I'm more a content trend trader, so that's if you kind of find it strange that I'm just talking about potential shorts, that's a little bit how my brain works. You can use basically the same levels that I'm looking for. If you're interested in looking for longs, basically you can perhaps wait for price to close the gap and go higher. Otherwise, I would actually wait for price to get perhaps a little bit lower before continue to move for a move to the upside. Nasdaq reacted really nicely from the highs, again literally just to close the gap in here, so you can prospect in that level. On Friday we had a new high being created, but we are still reacting from that level on the left side, and you can even perhaps fake out that level, to be honest. So that's something to bear in mind in here. And price can even go slightly higher, but for now still respecting. It was actually a good PI in here that was created on Nasdaq at around this level, so we'll see what's going to happen from around this level. All right, so price already reacted from here. There's maybe a new sell opportunity at around that level based on how price moved away from the zone, so that's something to bear in mind. And eventually could even continue to close this gap. Again, price just respected the structure, so to be okay. I was looking a little bit deeper, but that's maybe enough at this point in here. But let me just draw that level, then you have that one in there. So that could be a play in here. Again, even if you break new lows, that would be even nicer or even better to see. And then perhaps we could have the continuation to the downside. Dow is reacting a little bit more to the upside. Again, Dow had a really negative week last week. All right, basically it closed this gap that you're looking for, as price eventually managed to start breaking those lows and then fill the spice. Right, so that was what we had on the Dow. Really nice move, and now price is finding some buy pressure at around these lows again. Noticing that we already broke a high on the way down. That's exactly what you want to look for. Now reacting from this left shoulder as well. So we'll see if we do manage to break above this level, price can start moving a little bit more to the upside. Maybe can eventually even go all the way back to challenge those highs again, or if price just keeps respecting either this level or perhaps just the next level above it. Right, I'm not sure. Wait a second. Okay, just use the rectangle. I'm not sure if there's anything in here that price could use. Yeah, perhaps. Right, maybe something in there, if there's anything that price could still use to continue to push price to the downside. But it will be a new break of a high, which starts turning or kind of shifting a little bit the momentum in here. Many people will be looking at that as a break of structure and start looking for longs. I already see that a little bit with this break. as price was approaching these lows. So that's just something to bear in mind. Again, price can even just bounce in between. All right, in between this range in here, price can actually trade a little bit in between these levels as well. So those are just a few zones in here to bear in mind on the Dow. Now the DAX, all right, so the DAX basically reacting from where we're looking for, basically reacting from here and there. In this case, managed to respect, sorry, it managed to respect the lows, opened the big gap, it broke the highs, it came all the way down to close the gap, and now moving to the upside. Yeah, I'm looking at this point for price to get a little bit closer to these highs. Again, all these green levels, those are zones that I was expecting price to react from, and basically price has reacted from it already, right? Especially these ones in here. Price already reacted from here, price already reacted from there, price already reacted from this one as well. So the next one that I'm looking for eventually can be that one. In my opinion, this is an engulf to the downside. Price broke that structure, even though we got really close to this next level in there, and that's sometimes the tricky one, all right, because basically price closed actually within this range. Price actually reacted from it, even though it looks like that it could have gone into that demand zone, but it reacted from this decision point after the break of that high. So it's, even though I see it as an engulf to the downside in the bigger picture, in the shorter time frame, or kind of more in the moment, it can actually just work as a continuation to the upside. But I'm aware of the break of the structure, which means that I'm going to consider a potential short from the highs. Okay, I do like that we have now all this structure, so perhaps tomorrow we're going to have some kind of manipulation of these highs into that structure and then a move to the downside. Now I do like still that level in here. I think it's still fresh, I think it's still valid, and I do like that we have all these highs in here, creating kind of a double top at this point, attracting a lot of sales of people that are interested in shorting. For sure they are looking at this structure in here, all right, and they are trading, like, and they are looking for shorts in here. Many people are just even looking at the charts like this, and it looks like it's a strong level of resistance that we can see in here. They don't even consider it, they don't even pay attention to what actually is going on the left side, which makes it easier, or even easier, for price actually to eventually manipulate and fake out all these highs, potentially then to look to the downside. As you can see, you do have a new supply in here that basically price is already reacting from, but that can easily be faked out, and then price actually can go a little bit deeper into this level. As you can see, perhaps in here there's a fresh level in here, maybe a little bit above as well. Otherwise you go into new all-time highs. But at this point I still like, or I really like the idea of seeing price reacting from here. Basically this demand zone may have already been reacted from, which means that price is already weak if it comes back into here. Compression. So yeah, that's going to be one definitely setup that I'll be paying attention tomorrow, this potential short on the DAX. Let's see if it's going to happen around the London Open. Yeah, let me know guys what you think, and if you share actually this idea as well, and what pairs you are trading. All right, looking at Bitcoin at this point, there you go, just continues. It's getting closer and closer to this 70k mark. Again, you had that sell off a little bit last week. Prices respected the next level of structure, and now moving to the upside, respect that low, so we can continue to look a little bit more to the upside. I still see price potentially having some kind of reaction from around that level. It's one of the last levels in here. Aside from that, we may have new all-time highs, and who knows if then with Trump winning the election, it's going to create a new bull run into the crypto space, particularly in Bitcoin. All right, so that's something that we need to be aware of. And yeah, it's interesting, the price action starts to look really good. To be honest, Bitcoin much more bullish comparing with any other currency, any other crypto, especially Ethereum. It doesn't really look at that as bullish as BTC at this point, but we'll see. Like, again, good reaction, basically close out this gap, feel the range in here, and initially kind of that was the first target, then kind of the last target was literally that one in there, and now price is starting to move to the upside, but it does need to break above this line, right? Price needs to break above this level to start turning around. It's compressing in here, respecting the demand zones, but it needs to break the highs, otherwise it may find some selling pressure and may get closer to these lows one more time. We'll see. But it's interesting, there's a little bit of divergence at this point between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now, what else do we have in here, right? So we go into the FX currency pairs, and we are looking at this euro index. So we have been looking a little bit of strength on the euro pairs, and we have seen that. Like, so again, there was a lot of move to downside throughout the month of October, but now we have corrected. Finally, price reached these lows. We have been waiting for price to get into this level for quite a while. I was even looking a little bit lower, to be honest, but price kept respecting the structure. It had a really clean trend line as well that you can always use as a reference. Price broke that level, price created a double bottom, and then it turned. Like with an easy setup, just turned, basically created a structure when it breaks, and then kind of just respects the structure and have a continuation to the upside. And there's maybe a little bit more of momentum to the upside that you could see in here on the euro index. At this point, everything in here looks a little bit compressed to me, maybe just a few fresh supply levels on the way down, but then they do look a little bit weak, to be honest, and we could aim for price to get a little bit closer to these highs in here, to be honest. So that would be potentially a future target in here on this euro index, which means that you could continue to see a little bit more strength across the euro pairs. And this euro index is not just about the euro dollar, it's actually all across the euro pairs. We are talking about euro yen, euro pound, euro Aussie, euro CAD, and so on. Like, so that's basically the type of opportunities that you can also look for in here. And then you have the yen index. Like, this was something that we have been waiting for, and finally price reached the level that I was looking for. Okay, so last week price paused in here, which was still above this low, and I mentioned that I still wanted to see price moving further down into this demand zone, at least before actually looking for a potential bigger reversal. So we went there straight away with the gap over the weekend. Okay, with again with the election in Japan, it looks like there's going to be some changes in there. At least there needs to be some kind of agreements now in terms of the policies that they're going to start to apply, because they lost the majority, and we'll see what that's going to do for the stock market in Japan and also the yen. But at this point, price is quite interesting. So we finally reached that level. Something that is missing in here is still a proper break of a high. Like, we don't have any break of structure. Again, we have been bearish throughout all this move. We identified the breaks of lows. We noticed that price was, even though creating a bit of opportunities to look for longs and shorts, the bias was still to the downside, and we wanted to see price eventually filling out this price into this level. And we got to that stage now, right? So price finally got to this stage, and we are around here. So we are reacting from this upper edge of this bigger structure, which is basically this demand zone, and price can even go a little bit lower. Okay, I'm totally aware of that. And if by any chance price does want to continue to even go further down and fake out these lows in here, then you are going to go into the next level. But this yen index, they like, actually in theory, in general, they actually like to respect these clear structures, opposite maybe some other currency pairs where you are always expecting them to be faked out. This yen index actually tends to respect the levels, and it's already respecting it. We didn't even manage to close the gap, so that's something that matters in here. We did manage to break above the high, but we never closed the gap. Like, there's literally this space in here all the way there towards the gap, to the other side. We may have reacted from the lower edge of this level, actually reacted perfectly from it, but the gap is still open. All right, the gap is still open in there, even though, yes, you did react from this level of structure. That looks nice, but the gap is still open, and there's that possibility of price going there and even going a little bit higher into the next level in there that price also left behind. So those could be a potential targets look eventually for longs in here. So now I'm going to be curious to see how price actually is going to react around this low. Again, I mentioned that there is maybe still that zone underneath that price can eventually react from. So that's also a possibility, but definitely that's something that we're going to look for, which means that if you're expecting yen index to go higher, that means shorts across the yen pairs. All right, euro yen, pound yen, and so on. That means shorts. So that's something that we need to bear in mind. So we'll see what kind of PI happens in here. I like that we managed to break above this level. We didn't really manage to close it. Now everything in here looks a little bit compressed. We may have this demand zone in there. Maybe we can have a little bit of a lower structure in here at the lows. All right, so that's something to bear in mind in here. Like, as you can see, price basically already reacted from everything in here, so they are not that strong anymore. But let's see what kind of PI we're going to create around this structure in here, and if that happens, then we have an opportunity to expect more bullishness on the yen index. and potentially bearishness on the yen pairs. But there you go, price reached that level, something that we've been waiting for. All right, now let's look at the individual currency pairs. All right, let's jump into the euro dollar, and this is what we have, right? So we have euro dollar. It reacted from the level that we mentioned that was still potentially fresh at these lows. As you can see, kind of this week, so we had a big spike down up with the manufacturing PMI, manufacturing services PMI last Thursday. Price starting to move to the upside, and I talked about the break of this high, right? So pricing here managed to break this high, which means that I'm expecting price eventually, or I see this as an engulf to the upside on euro dollar, which means that I'll be looking for price eventually to move to the upside as it was approaching these lows, or eventually can even go slightly lower, and that will be an engulf for the future. But for now, it's still respecting this level. That level is still fresh, so that's perfectly. Now, unfortunately, is that all these moves, basically every single turn that happen in basically across all the FX pairs, they happen overnight. Like basically every single one of them. This one happened at around whatever, like it is even different, like around 5 AM in the morning, UK time. So again, there's no way that I was be trading at that time, and price basically just moved to the upside after that. Now it's closing a little bit of this level. So again, similar to the dollar index, we are stuck within a little bit of this range. The main difference is that euro dollar actually managed to break that high, and dollar index never managed to break the low. So that's one of the differences that we have in here. I'm totally okay to still look for potential PA at around these lows if price does want to go there one more time. All right, and yeah, so we'll see. I'm not really interested in looking for shorts at this point on euro dollar. I'm a little bit more interested in looking for longs, at least within this level. For shorts, at least I would like to see perhaps euro dollar getting a little bit closer to another level of structure before aiming to look for any type of shorts in here. All right, again, we're going to have plenty of news, so they expect volatility, and we may expect price breaking structure as well. Our previous levels of structure in here with the type of catalysts and news that you're going to have throughout this week, and starting tomorrow already with the job openings. So that's something to bear in mind. Again, pound dollar actually managed to break a new high. Again, you're still kind of respecting that level, but pound dollar is definitely starting to create new higher highs in here. This was a nice fake out into that structure. That was nice. Again, it was around 5 AM in the morning. I could even see price going slightly lower, but there was a kind of a nice level in there, to be honest, in the lower time frame. Bigger picture, yes, I'm still a bit more, or still like to see pound dollar eventually moving a little bit more to the downside. But again, where it reacted is not a bad level as well. So that was a good reaction here, and eventually could look for pound dollar to get a little bit closer to that level. So we'll see what's going to happen. Are we going to have this push now to the upside? Are we going to have one new attempt to go a little bit further down before move higher, right? That's something to bear in mind in here. Again, I like this structure as well. It's starting to create a little bit of this reversal structure. Yeah, I do like this low still. At this point, we did manage to break new highs, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in here, if price by any chance is going to create something like that, if it even is going to take the low and go higher, or if it's just going to maybe respect this level in here and move to the upside after that. So yeah, that's basically what you can have in here. Yeah, just moving to the upside after that move. Yeah, and that kind of, it depends as well on what we're going to see on the dollar index, so that's something to bear in mind as well. Euro pound, there you go, right? I was expecting this, and I'm stuck within this range now. Like, I'm still holding the long. Price is still trading within this range, and that's what happens. Like, that's what happens when we get stuck, or when you try to trade euro pound. Maybe I should have closed everything at around this level. I didn't. Decide to kind of keep some portion open because I do like the lows, to be honest. I got a good entry, so yeah, I'm still looking to see if this euro pound actually is going to move to the upside again. There's going to be big news in the UK on Thursday when you have the budget, right? The autumn budget being announced. Again, expecting taxes to increase of taxes in the UK. So we'll see what's going to happen and how the market actually is going to react to it. Before that, of course, you're going to have many dollar news. The problem is that when it's focused on the dollar, again, pound, euro, dollar, and pound dollar are going to move in the same direction, which basically keeps this euro pound in the range without really moving anywhere. So we'll see. We'll see what I'm going to do. I'm just actually losing money because I'm paying swaps. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in here. Yeah, we'll see. Aussie dollar. All right, Aussie dollar. Yeah, a little bit more of a move to downside. That's nice. I like it. I like it. I really like it. So I want to continue to see this Aussie dollar moving a little bit more. So fake out the low, continue to go. Not really managing to break the high. That was one of the highs that was broken there. It's perfect. Continue to get a little bit more to the downside. Now it's reacting a little bit from that structure. It can even go below that level and perhaps react from here, right? So again, you can start and checking a little bit across these levels in here. Where can we expect price to reverse, or where is the next big level that you could look for? Perhaps any kind of previous level support resistance, or any kind of demand that is still fresh, or where is the liquidity in here, right? And maybe the liquidity is below this, of these lows into the next level. So if that's the case, then we could perhaps look for maybe Aussie dollar to react a little bit into this level, which looks like it's still fresh in there. See if I have enough. Yeah, I think I have enough history, yeah, to go towards there. So that could be the case. Again, as you can see, you already have a few lows being broken in here. Again, price is reacting from that structure. It's not a bad one. All right, it's not a bad one, but price could even move down, right? So price reacting from here, but yes, price could target actually this low, and after that moving to the upside. And that's what I'm going to be tracking. I'm going to be tracking potential longs on the Aussie dollar. Again, price has been moving to downside for quite a long time. Looking at the daily time frame as well, as you can see, it's continuously moving down. On the weekly, it's literally just moving to downside. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. I'll keep an eye on it. At this point, of course, expecting this low to be broken, never managed to break that high, and then we can have a new attempt. Like we are reaching in a zone 3 type of a move, which is kind of what I described as a compression move from kind of one side to the other until it fills a full empty space that is there to be filled, and then eventually start having some PA that starts showing some signs of reversal. And that starts also with a break of opposite structure. Doesn't mean that price will reverse straight away after that. At least that break of structure is a sign of a little bit of strength at this point in here. Yeah, so let it go, and we'll see what's going to happen in here. I don't like it. Let it get a bit weaker, and then you can look for those longs. And I believe there's going to be a good opportunity eventually to catch in here again, maybe tomorrow already with the news. New Zealand also goes into the same trajectory. New Zealand that is reacting from a really nice level. So New Zealand already fake out these lows, basically the lows that I'm looking for on the Aussie. I know they are slightly different, but we did manage to now fake out all this level in here, and prices started to see some bullishness. Like we actually managed to break above this size. We do have still this trend line in here. Nice reaction as well in here, a little bit from this left shoulder. So we'll see. Maybe on New Zealand the low is already in place. We'll see. I like it. It could go even a little bit lower into that level, but that's not a bad zone. And yeah, we'll see if that's going to play out like that, and if New Zealand going to eventually feel all this compression here and just continue to move to the upside. So that will be definitely a potential opportunity I'm going to be looking for on New Zealand dollar. Then the rest of the Aussie pairs, like again, eventually when you have the turn on the Aussie dollar, you may have the turn also on this Euro Aussie and eventually Pound Aussie. Like Euro Aussie has been quite bullish. We talked about that. That was for us an angle to the upside. Price was reacting from those lows. Then price kind of respecting here, created a double bottom, which means that, okay, looks like that the lows are in place and price is ready to start to rally from here, using a little bit of structure in here as a continuation. And you're getting into the next, or a little bit of a fresh level in here. Basically, price is filling out this range. You can fake out this high and perhaps can have a little bit of a reaction from this zone in the middle. It may look like that is still fresh in there. So that's a zone that you can pay attention to in here on the Aussie dollar. Again, depending on the price action that you have, we don't really have any lows being broken just yet. So that's something to bear in mind. All right, but eventually you may have that, and you can have a good opportunity also to look for a short. So maybe when you do see that Aussie dollar turning, maybe you have turn as well on the Euro Aussie. As you can see in regards to the Euro index, that has been quite bullish as well. As you can see in here, the Euro Aussie moving also quite strongly to the upside, supporting that exactly asset. So we'll see what's going to happen in here, or if by any chance the target is going to be all the way towards this level, then you're going to continue to see more momentum, and then the opposite side you're going to have Aussie dollar moving to the downside in there. And perhaps that's the final target in here, but we could have some retracement before actually price continues to go higher. But Aussie, again, Euro Aussie, I think it can be quite interesting. It's been quite bullish recently, and yeah, it's maybe about time to have a little bit of a deeper retrace as price now is approaching this previous level support resistance as well in here. All right, pound Aussie, I haven't really looked at it, but just continues. Right, it's the same way, same one, kind of now faking out that level, now just moving to the upside. I haven't really looked at this one for a while. Yeah, just let it go a little bit more to the upside as well. May have something in there. Again, you just fake out this double top in there, so we'll see eventually price could even retest this level and move to the upside again. On the other side, we have Aussie yen. All right, so Aussie yen making a little bit of that move to the upside and then retrace. Like it looks exactly, no, this Aussie dollar. 1 second, what am I looking at? All right, Aussie yen reacted perfectly from that level, so we had that gap to the upside, again opposite to the yen index because of the news in Japan. And yeah, there you go. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm looking to see what's going to happen across or in between this range in there, right? Which level is going to be broken first or not. Again, good reaction from that fresh level, so we'll see what's going to happen afterwards as well. Yeah, so again, so another one overnight. Yeah, overall it looks like it's still bullish, but I like the way price is kind of literally losing momentum in here. We still need a proper break of a low in here. We haven't really got that, and price is still reacting from that good level. Eventually could even go a little bit more to the upside, or maybe there's still something in there that price could react from as well. So that's just something to bear in mind in here on the Aussie yen. The other yen pairs, again, that gap, price moving all the way down, basically to close the gap. So some of these yen pairs actually managed to close the gap, some others didn't. This is dollar yen in here. Again, still reacting from that level. Eventually can even go into the next zone in there. I think that will be a much better level to look for a short. Okay, instead of price just keep respecting these highs, I'm looking more for this dollar yen to get into the next level in here. All right, that's a little bit more of what I'm looking for. Which means that, yeah, I'll be waiting to see this euro yen moving, dollar yen, sorry, moving a little bit more to the upside and eventually taking that level. Okay, got really close. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. Again, if by any chance price wants to respect still something here, perhaps there is still this level that price can use it. Okay, you did manage to break below the structure, but just respecting this one in here. Also managed basically, yeah, retested, basically respecting previous level in there. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Okay, I'll keep an eye on this level. I could still see price reacting from this level in here. There's maybe some selling pressure around this level. It's a nice quasi move in here. Maybe price already reacted from it, so it brings it down in there. So that's something to bear in mind. Maybe this dollar yen can find, especially if dollar yen as well wants to find some shorts. And if the dollar yen, if the yen index also is ready or not to turn. Euro yen, yeah, similar, went all the way. Again, there's no gap being closed in here, so basically it just stopped in there. Where are we? Still respecting around this level. Dollar yen is already in here. Aussie yen is already kind of in there. Again, could eventually go into that zone. So again, this is just a few different zones where price has been reacting from. Yeah, definitely that this euro yen could also move a little bit more to the upside. It's getting a little bit of a range. It looks like that's also still fresh this level, but it could go higher, right? It could definitely go a little bit more to the upside and challenge maybe even that high in there. All right. Yeah, maybe go all the way to fake out that high. So that will be one of the takes. Another one, by any chance, if it wants to respect this level, then it can respect, and you can maybe find an opportunity to look for a short like this tomorrow. All right, so we'll see. Eventually to close the gap, that will be one of the first targets. Then eventually can even go there if price by any chance just fakes out everything in here. All right. Then you have pound yen, right? So pound yen actually similar to the yen index in this case, actually managed to break below this low, but it didn't close the gap, right? So this is another one where it didn't close the gap. Second, I is missing that one. Okay, now it did it. but it may have respected it, right? So basically it respected the structure in here, but the gap is still open. So we'll see how price may react from here. I have a big line in there. Where is it? All right, so it's still that level, and then you can even go slightly higher. So again, I wouldn't mind to see this pound yen getting a little bit higher and then moving to downside. I wouldn't mind it at all. But maybe price wants to respect something here first and go, right? So I'll be actually waiting for pound yen to go a little bit more to the upside before making a move down, or perhaps just literally fake out this level and make the move down. Again, you have this strong trend line as well, something to bear in mind, something that this pound yen can still keep respecting. Again, you have this level in here, or eventually can even go a little bit more to the downside as well. So that's just a few levels that could still hold this pound yen to the upside in here. What else? Maybe CAD yen. Yeah, great reaction. Basically close the gap and still moving to the upside as well. Yeah, eventually looking for price maybe to get a little bit higher, similar to the dollar, to the euro yen. Price can still continue to move to the upside. This may just be a continuation in here. We'll see. Price eventually just close the gap and move to the upside now. So that's one in there. But to talk about Aussie CAD actually provided a great opportunity, two great opportunities to look for shorts. Last week I didn't really follow it. It was my mistake. Price actually had broken this low, retraced all the way, moved down again, broken another low, good retest and move until price eventually can get closer to this level. So yeah, this was a big miss. Now price is already moving. Yeah, it's already moved outside. Perhaps can have some reaction from one of these three levels in here. Yeah, that was my bet. Dollar CAD continues to move to the upside, starting to see some weakness, but again, this week is quite tricky. All right, it's quite tricky. We have that high as well. We have this high in here as well. So is price going to respect or not? Again, I've been within this range for many years now. All right, within this level. So that's going to be interesting to see if we are going to hold it or not, or by any chance we're going to have a break of that structure. Now price is starting to slow down a little bit. It looks like it's still bullish. Price hasn't really managed to break below that low, and that needs to happen eventually if price is interested in looking for reversals. Yeah, now question mark is there anything in here that you can look for? There isn't that many things in there. You can look at it in a lower time frame, but perhaps you could look for something like this. We'll see if that's going to play out or not. Something to bear in mind in here on the dollar CAD. Again, more of an intraday setup. Maybe there's still something in here that we could look for, so that's something to bear in mind. More of an intraday move. Yeah, that's definitely something that potentially you can look for. I think you could look for something in here like that. Yeah, especially if price does break below this level. Yeah. All right. Euro CAD and the remaining of the CAD pairs. Like again, Euro CAD moving to the upside and similar to the Euro Index, finding a little bit of resistance now. Yeah, we'll see again. This looks like a nice, interesting level. Potentially, we can even go higher. Okay. Yeah, the way price respected this level was quite interesting. Let's see. Potentially, we can retest that level before moving to the upside. It's in the middle. I'm not really interested at this point in anything in here. It's quite in the middle right now. And then you have pound CAD as well, moving more to the upside. So interesting the way price respected this level, and then let's see how price may react closer to this high. So I want it a little bit higher. Let's see how price may react from there. We can have a turn as well. Again, price reacted nicely, broke the highs, keep respecting this level, and then start moving upwards. Yeah, nice move. We'll see how price may react from that level. In the event you can even go there, to be honest. All right, now dollar franc Swiss. Yeah, this one made me a bit upset. So we have been waiting, like we've been waiting on this dollar franc Swiss for price. Price has been trading within this level for basically 2 weeks, and I'm waiting for price to go slightly higher before a turn. Right, so we're looking for price at least to fake out this high and even going a little bit higher into there. So price fake out this high. All right, so price basically took that high in there. right, as you can see, and start moving downside. But this was exactly another one, just like the euro dollar, where price reacted or reversed from there overnight, right? It was way too early, price just reversed and went down straight away, right? So there was no chance for me to even try to participate on it. I've been waiting for it for a couple of weeks or so. I can even see price going one more time, a bit more to the upside, but this was already a nice reaction. Price can even perhaps go all the way into here. It looks like it's been fully compressed, but yes, I would like to see a new push up in here on dollar franc Swiss before any shorts. So any big shorts, I mean. Let's see if that's going to provide us a new opportunity to look for shorts somewhere at around this level in here. All right, I would actually like to see price going slightly higher. Yeah, so we'll see if that's going to happen, and then of course we still have the possibility of price even faking out this high in there, and only then having a deeper retracement. Gold within the range, so we talked about that basically supply in there, price potentially ranging in here, but since price actually respected quite nicely these lows, I could still see eventually gold going a little bit more to the upside. It's a full range where price is reacting at this point, so we'll see what's going to happen in there. Silver as well, kind of ranging a little bit at this point. Not the biggest fan of where this was reacting, but it's basically previous well support resistance in there. Price kept respecting this level. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here on silver. Prices reacting from that interesting zone in there, can even go higher eventually, but now is ranging, right? So that's going to be something to pay attention. Did manage to break below that structure, which can lead for price to move a little bit more to the downside. Perhaps it could go a little bit higher into there before making that move, but that will kind of force a little bit gold as well to move to the downside. So we'll see if that's even going to happen or not. And then we have oil, right? So oil is something that we are looking for. The price of oil basically gapped quite a lot for today's opening. Again, the situation between Israel and Iran, and you had this big move to downside. Price finally reaching that zone that I've been looking for, and now I'm looking for potential longs. I'm still not long, but I'm going to start being interested in definitely looking for longs in here to see what's going to happen. Like, we have a big gap that we need to fill. Price perhaps still has some reaction from here, but you have a big gap that you can eventually aim for price to fill in here. First this level, then we have this level in here, and then eventually going to fill the gap. In terms of looking for longs, my price is reacting really nicely from this demand zone, so that's a level. So potentially price could still respect something within this level in here and look for longs, or potentially can even go all the way, fake out this level into the next structure in there. It's basically the same with Brent. In here it's a bit more on over time frame, but it's the same gap, it's the same reaction where price is at this point, where price in here hasn't really reacted from the extreme in there. Well, on crude oil is already reacted. Yep, it's already done in there. Slightly difference of the PA that we have in here. But yeah, it's basically the idea is the same, right? We have a clear gap that you can eventually look for price to fill. So we'll see. Perhaps this one in here could even create a new low and then move to the upside and fill that gap in there. So that's definitely an asset that now I'm going to be looking for longs. I've been waiting for that for also basically 2 weeks now, and yeah, finally price is here. So it's time for me to look for some long opportunities on oil. Yeah. Yeah, good reaction from this level. Yeah, it looks good. It does look good. All right, so just to recap. Perfect. Okay, so To recap today's live trading session, right? This pre-market analysis and what we are going to be looking for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow starts the big catalyst in the US, right? It starts the new labor market with the job openings, and for the remaining of this week and including next week, it's going to be plenty of big news events that can move the market quite a lot. So expect volatility from tomorrow until the end of next week. So that's the first point. Expect plenty of opportunities, inclusively in the US dollar pairs and also indices and basically across the market. So tomorrow we have job openings. That's the big one. All right, that's the big one for tomorrow. We have job openings and consumer confidence in the US. Then on Wednesday you have more news, and throughout the week as well we're going to be looking at that day by day. Now, in terms of the dollar index, we are still within the same range, right? Price basically still respecting the lows. Something that is missing in here is a break to the downside, a break of structure that literally opens the door for price to start having a deeper retracement to the downside. You have the really strong October in the dollar, quite the opposite again on the pound, euro, Aussie dollar, and so on. So we need to see that break of structure. On the euro dollar, we actually have already a break to the upside, which starts showing some signs of potential bullishness on the euro dollar, but we still need that confirmation also on the dollar index. Now, I have a few potential scenarios, okay? Until we actually have a proper break off to the downside, I'm going to only look for small retracements instead of a big retracement in here. Now we have a potential zone in here that price can still react from, or eventually we can even fake out these highs, and only after that we are going to have a little bit of a deeper move. Bear in mind that I'm still totally open for the idea that price and the dollar index can even go all the way closer to those highs at closer to 1.5, 105.5. All right, so that's something on the dollar index. When then you are looking at the euro dollar, price respected quite nicely the lows again. We can start seeing some bullishness. Pound dollar is already breaking new highs, basically creating higher highs and higher lows, which starts showing a little bit of bullishness as well. Again, I'm still not really, again, I could still see more bearishness on the dollar, on the pound dollar in the bigger picture, but for now we can have that retracement. Aussie dollar, New Zealand, and so on. They are actually approaching good levels that you can start looking for longs. I do like the lows already on New Zealand dollar, so that could already be a low in place. Aussie dollar, I would like maybe a little bit more of a move to the downside before looking for longs. Looking at the yen pairs, that we had now the situation where apparently the government lost the majority in yesterday's election. And let's see how that's going to play out with the yen and with the Nikkei, right? So apparently you had a big gap to downside today. Price is finally approaching and finally reacting from a level that I've been waiting for. Last week I mentioned that I was looking for price to create a new low potentially before looking for a reversal in here. But again, we still need to see highs being broken for that. We did manage to break slightly this high, we never closed the gap, so that would be a possibility to look for a strong or a move to the upside in here on the yen index, which means a move to the downside across the euro yen, dollar yen, and so on. So that's a play that I'm going to be paying attention to for tomorrow in here. In terms of the US indices, we are still literally within the range. We are going to have the big tech companies announcing their earnings this week with Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and so on. So expect plenty of volatility, especially at close to the closing of the US session. That starts tomorrow, so we'll see. Like basically S&P just ranging. Again, I still see the possibility to see price moving to the downside, but if you do have a new high being created, I'm totally okay with it, and I'm going to continue still looking for shorts in here. Nasdaq as well, kind of respected quite nice with those highs. If you start breaking below this structure, there's a potential to see more downside. If price keep respecting this structure, then you may start to challenge a little bit more the highs on the left side. The Dow, we're starting to see a little bit of bullishness after that strong move to downside last week, respected perfectly the target. And now we're going to see if price actually managed to break above this high and starts moving a bit more to the upside, or if you keep respecting this level, maybe can look a little bit more to downside. And the DAX, I still like the idea of looking for shorts at these highs. If price creates new highs, totally okay. We have plenty of structure in here that perhaps you need to collect that liquidity before moving to the downside. But in my opinion, this is a move to the downside, so I'm still okay looking for price to just fake out these most recent highs in here. All right. I think there's maybe enough liquidity for price just fake out that and moving to the downside. So that's going to be a play I'm going to be looking for on the DAX. Dollar CAD and the rest of the CAD pairs, they've been quite bullish. I still need to see a little bit more of weakness before looking for a move downside. Dollar franc Swiss is starting to show some weakness as well, so I'm going to continue to look for potential shorts in there. Bitcoin is approaching the 70k, so quite interesting, super strong in here. And again, in my opinion, there's maybe just one last level in here that can hold price, and that's somewhere around here. Aside from that, price can just literally break and create new all-time highs as we are approaching the US election. And maybe if Trump actually wins, that can be the new catalyst to see a big momentum now on BTC. Ethereum is not as bullish as Bitcoin at this point. It still needs to break this structure to start moving to the upside. And then you look at silver and gold. They are still within that range. We'll see if we're going to eventually get new highs on gold and oil, which opened with a big gap to downside because of the situation between Israel and Iran, and finally is now close, or it's at the level that I mentioned last week that I was waiting for price to get to before looking for long. So this is my opportunity now that I'm going to start positioning myself to look for long opportunities now that price is approaching, or it is at these lows. So that's basically it. Again, potential shorts on the dollar, which means longs on the New Zealand, potentially euro and pound and so on. Oil, I'm going to be looking for longs. US indices, potentially to see if there's some opportunities to look for shorts or not. And the end pairs as well, potentially shorts opportunities as well as price gets closer to those levels that I'm looking for. So thank you very much, guys. With that being said, again, subscribe to the channel if you're getting value. And if you want to join me during this pre-market analysis, I'm streaming every day at 7 p.m. So feel free to join, feel free to get ready, like be proactive when you are analyzing the market. Don't just be reactive. The key aspect as well to help you with consistency and to become a consistent profitable trader is to know what you are looking for beforehand. Like, it's preparation. Preparation is key if you actually want to eventually become consistent in here. So feel free to join. Let's analyze the market together and let me know what you are looking for as well. With that being said, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Obrigado.